honey, grab your tea, clutch your pearls, and sit down. Cause what just went down in that courtroom had even the most stone-faced bailiffs gasping for air. We're talking about Jamie Foxx, yes, the Oscar-winning charmer, breaking down in full-blown sobs on the witness stand as he laid bare what really happened inside Diddy's secretive, glitzy, and allegedly sinister mansion. According to courtroom insiders and leaked transcripts, Chile Jamie wasn't acting. This was real. Hands trembling, voice cracking, and then boom. The man just collapsed into sobs as he started detailing a night that would haunt him for the rest of his life. A night inside what people used to call a palace of influence, but what Jamie now says was something much darker. Let's rewind the clock. For years, Jamie and Diddy were seen as friends. Award shows, champagne toasts, luxury photos screaming black excellence. But behind that polished facade, Jamie just exposed it all as a carefully curated illusion. He told the court, "We all wanted in. Diddy's mansion was like the epicenter of power, music, deals, energy. It felt like stepping into royalty." But according to Jamie, that invitation he accepted one fateful night, it wasn't for a party. It was for an initiation. Gasp. That night, Jamie says he was taken into a private wing of the estate. Luxury everywhere, liquor flowing, celebs mingling. But then the vibe shifted. The lights dimmed, laughter faded, and people began to disappear into smaller hush-hush rooms. They told me to relax, said Diddy had a surprise for me, Jamie said, barely able to speak through his cracked voice. A surprise, he says, that left him mentally wrecked for years. He was ushered into a private, soundproof theater, a video had already been queued up, and what played next? Jamie refused to describe it in full detail, but he made one thing crystal clear. It was like nothing I'd ever seen. I didn't know if it was real or staged, but my stomach dropped. I tried to leave, but the doors were locked. Locked? They said to me, "Everyone who's somebody has been through this, y'all." The room was dead silent, not even a breath. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, Jamie took another breath and whispered, "I never asked to see that." And I've spent every day since trying to forget it. Even the judge called for a 5-minute recess to let Jamie compose himself. It was that bad. After the break, Jamie came back. Red eyes, hands shaking, but baby, he was ready to speak the truth. He said, "When I tried to leave that night, they handed me a glass, said it would help me calm down. I didn't drink it. I just said I needed to go." And then, with a stare that chilled the courtroom, Jamie added, "Diddy looked at me like he knew exactly what I saw, but didn't care, like it was supposed to happen." But the real nightmare? It didn't end when Jamie left the mansion. No, it was just beginning. The calls started coming in. Not threats, but reminders. Stay close, they said. They offered him a deal, a 7-figure NDA. He refused. And suddenly, boom, his career slowed to a crawl. Film projects stalled, studios went silent. Jamie called it a freeze out, and he wasn't the only one. He said, "I've seen people vanish, not dead, just erased." Chilly, the gallery gasped when Jamie dropped the bombshell. 3 other A-list celebrities had told him they went through similar experiences. Their names? Redacted from court records, but insiders whisper it includes a Grammy-winning rapper, a beloved late-night host, and an activist actress. Then Jamie dropped a quote that'll live in infamy. "We wear smiles, suits, sunglasses, but behind it, we're broken. Some things you can't unsee. But honey, buckle up." Because what came next shook everyone to their core. Jamie revealed something so disturbing it sounded like a movie plot, but it was all real. Allegedly, deep inside Diddy's estate was a secret surveillance room, not a myth, not a rumor, a fact. Monitors, encrypted servers, hidden cabinets, and all of it recording people without their consent. Everything was filmed, Jamie testified. Bedrooms, hallways, bathrooms. You thought it was a wild night? Nah, you were being recorded. And get this. He said this wasn't just about voyeurism, it was about control, a secret currency of blackmail. Politicians, executives, athletes, some caught drunk, some in compromising, even non-consensual acts. They used it as insurance, Jamie said, to own people, to silence them. And if you think Jamie was spared, think again. A few months later, a flash drive showed up at his office. No return address, just his name in thick black marker. Inside, a distorted video. Jamie's own face, caught reacting inside that theater. No audio, just his shocked expression. Then a black screen with the words, "Just remember." "I didn't sleep that night," Jamie confessed. "That wasn't just a video, that was a message, a warning. We see you, we own your silence, and it worked." For a while, Jamie kept his mouth shut. Until now, it gets worse. One night in LA, 2 big dudes approached Jamie outside a restaurant. No names, no threats, just handed him a phone. "He wants to talk," they said. On the line, Diddy. And what he said? Enough to make Jamie's blood run cold. Hope you're not planning on saying anything you'll regret. You're a legend, Jamie. Don't lose that over something that ain't your business. Child, Diddy didn't have to say much. The threat was clear. Jamie started canceling appearances, switched phones, hired private security. He said, I knew they could reach me anywhere. And wouldn't you know it, just days later, a shady gossip outlet ran a story hinting Jamie was caught up in a scandal. A fabricated one, he insisted. That was the warning shot, he said. They were saying, play ball or we'll rewrite your story. Jamie described how guests at Diddy's parties had to hand over their phones for privacy, allegedly. But Jamie learned later those phones were cloned. Contacts, messages, everything. They didn't just take your night, they took your data, your voice, your fear. And when prosecutors presented a pile of NDAs signed by high-profile guests, Jamie said, "Yep, I was asked to sign one. I refused." That's when the blackout began. Film deals, gone. Endorsements, gone. Studios, silent. I wasn't blacklisted for doing something wrong, Jamie said. I was blacklisted for not playing along. Jamie then dove into the mansion itself. Rooms hidden behind bookshelves. A surveillance control room manned by silent men who never made eye contact. One of them showed Jamie a screen with live footage of nearly every room in the house. They wanted me to know they had everything, Jamie said. Later, Jamie was given a different guest room, far from the others. No windows, cameras in the corners. I didn't feel like a guest. I felt like a prisoner. Then came the most horrifying moment, what he called the ritual. Around 2:00 a.m., he saw a group in robes moving toward the theater. Some were blindfolded, some filmed. Diddy stood in the center, smiling, orchestrating it all. Handlers kept the cameras rolling, whispered in ears, ensured everyone played their part. After returning to his room, Jamie found a photo of him and Diddy, years old. On the back, a handwritten note, brotherhood. Chile, that's not brotherhood. That's a straight-up psychological chess move. In his final testimony, Jamie revealed an FBI agent reached out privately. This agent had been tracking Diddy for years and confirmed something horrifying. Over 30 sealed complaints related to trafficking, misconduct, and extortion tied to Diddy. None had made it past a grand jury. Why? Because Diddy was protected, politically, financially, socially. And then, the biggest shocker, Jamie said the agent claimed sealed files implicated a former U.S. president at one of Diddy's exclusive events. One of the ones where surveillance was active. The implication? There were secrets so big, nobody dared touch them. The agent warned Jamie, if you speak up, you're not just going up against Diddy, you're going up against the entire machine. With tears rolling down his cheeks, Jamie looked at the jury and said, "This isn't about revenge. It's about stopping something that's been hidden too long. If something happens to me after this, I want the world to know I told the truth." And just like that, the courtroom froze. Reporters stopped scribbling. Juries wiped away tears. The judge called for recess. And Jamie, he walked back to his seat, broken but brave, because that silence wasn't peace. It was reckoning. If you thought the ritual room was the worst of it, oh no, sweetie, buckle up. Because what Jamie Foxx described next was so bone-chilling, even seasoned courtroom officials were left speechless. He called it the blackout incident. It happened around 2:00 a.m. during his stay at Diddy's mansion. Suddenly, the music stopped. The estate plunged into total silence. Then, boom, darkness. At first, Jamie thought it was just a power outage, but something about the timing felt off. The hallway lights blinked twice, then completely died. The air changed, Jamie said. It felt like the walls were holding their breath. Then a tall man in a black suit appeared. No smile, no warmth, just authority. No phones, no cameras. Everyone back inside. Jamie obeyed. But curiosity got the better of him and what he saw next. He wished he hadn't. He cracked open a door, just slightly, and peeked in. There was a circle of people. Robes, shadows, movement, whispers. He couldn't hear it clearly, but there was something metallic, clanging, and then a muffled scream. A male scream. Jamie wouldn't say who it was, but he knew it wasn't a party game. He saw figures standing in a circle and someone clearly being restrained. And in the middle of it all, a woman with a notepad, calmly writing things down like it was a checklist. She glanced toward the door and made direct eye contact with Jamie. She didn't panic. She didn't yell. She just smiled and quietly closed the door. Jamie fell backward. That's when I knew, he told the jury, his voice trembling. Jamie apologized and backed away, but not before he spotted something that made his skin crawl. A heavy black curtain with faint white lights blinking underneath it. I knew that was where they kept the good stuff, Jamie said, his voice laced with sarcasm. Not good like fun, good like evidence, good like leverage. A friend later told him, that upstairs level, that's where the meetings happen. Jamie asked, what kind of meetings? The answer? The kind where people give up something to get something. That sentence would haunt Jamie for years. The prosecution finally asked the question everyone had been dying to hear, why didn't you come forward sooner? Jamie looked down, took a breath, and finally admitted, I was scared. Not for my career, forget that. I was scared for my life, for my family. You don't understand the reach this man has. He explained that Diddy didn't just end careers, he made people disappear. Not physically, but from the industry, from protection, from everything. Ask anyone who tried, Jamie said. They got sued, they got fired, they got followed, they got erased. But when Cassie's testimony came out, when staffers started leaking secrets, when federal investigators finally launched their probe, Jamie knew, if I stayed quiet now, I was complicit, and he couldn't live with that anymore. Jamie's final words on the stand didn't just shake the courtroom, they broke it. Everyone thinks Hollywood is built on dreams, but it's not. It's built on secrets. And Diddy, he collected more secrets than anyone else alive. And then he leaned into the mic and said, if anything happens to me after this, just know I told the truth. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Even jurors were seen dabbing their eyes. Some reporters lowered their pens, too shaken to keep typing. And as Jamie walked back to his seat, his shoulders heavy, his head down. You could feel the shift in the air. The illusion of power cracked. The silence of complicity shattered. This wasn't just another celebrity testimony. This was a reckoning. Since Jamie's gut-wrenching testimony, the entertainment world has been buzzing. Industry insiders are on high alert. Some are lawyering up. Others are outright vanishing from public view. And guess what? Whispers say Diddy's inner circle is crumbling from the inside. Some associates are turning state witnesses. Others are fleeing the country. It's panic mode in high places. And those surveillance tapes, word on the street is the feds are close to finding the vault. One former employee even told a reporter anonymously, if they find what's on those hard drives, you'll see Emmy winners, Grammy winners, even politicians go down. We're talking about the potential to collapse entire empires built on secrets, coercion, and manipulation. And it all started with one man, Jamie Foxx, choosing to risk everything to speak up. Though Jamie has remained quiet in public since the testimony, a close friend reportedly said he's been journaling, healing, and staying close to his loved ones. He's still getting offers from lawyers, from networks, from streaming platforms who want to turn his story into a film or docuseries. But Jamie isn't thinking about Hollywood right now. He's thinking about healing. Because as he told the courtroom with tears in his eyes, this isn't about revenge. It's about freedom. It's about truth. And it's about saving the next person from walking into that mansion thinking they're just going to a party. Closing words. The truth has never left to hide. This is it. The moment Hollywood hoped would never come. The lights are on. The cameras aren't just for manipulation. They're for justice. Because when Jamie Foxx stood up in that courtroom and laid his soul bare, he wasn't just telling his truth. He was handing the mic to every silenced voice, every hidden victim, every deleted career that dared to ask questions. And that's why we say Jamie Foxx didn't testify. He exploded the silence. Now it's Diddy's turn to face the music. And no matter how loud the machine screams, one thing is clear. The truth is out. And this is not going back in the vault.